The moment I asked myself this question, my entire life began to shift, and not overnight, but in a way that I could finally feel in my body. I realized I was asking myself the wrong question for years, when the real question should have been, why am I holding myself hostage to a life that no longer works for me? And the strange part is, I wasn't even talking to anybody. I wasn't talking to a therapist. I wasn't having a breakdown. I was simply sitting in my car in the Trader Joe's parking lot with tears streaming down my face. And the moment I asked myself this question, I realized something that honestly terrified me. No one was holding me hostage. I was holding myself hostage. I think this is relevant to you because we as women, we prioritize what drains us rather than what enriches us and makes us exceptional. Think of how much energy you've poured into the woman you used to be rather than the woman you're becoming. And in that moment, I felt a sense of surrender. I realized I can no longer do this to myself anymore. I'm in my 40s. I've lived with chronic pain for years. And I had had enough. So I asked myself, what if my body is carrying emotions that I refuse to face? If you're anything like me, you're really good at pushing your emotions down by staying amenable, keeping the peace, saying yes when you mean no. It's so much easier, right, to be the good woman, but something inside of me, it felt chained, it felt locked. Being hostage, it didn't look chaotic. It looked like I was living a normal life on the outside. It looked like saying yes to things that I didn't want to do because I didn't want to be rejected. Staying quiet about things that bothered me because I detest conflict. And my biggest downfall, pretending everything was fine, because if I admitted it wasn't, then I'd actually have to do something about it. My life was predictable, safe, but incredibly infuriating. Let me know if this speaks to you. I knew that if I let myself feel what I had been avoiding, then I'd actually have to become the woman that I was secretly desiring to be. But what would that mean? That would mean I would actually have to be seen. And to be seen can feel incredibly terrifying and very confronting. But that question cracked me open because once I asked that question, more questions started to surface. One of the questions was, when was the last time I actually felt excited about my life? And I thought about it, and it had been years ago when my partner and I first met. And admitting that meant something that I didn't want to face. Maybe the relationship wasn't the problem, but it was my silence or my inability to fully show up. Then the other questions started coming. Why do I keep staying quiet just to keep the peace? Why do I keep abandoning my own needs just to feel lovable? Why do I tolerate things that a stronger version of me wouldn't? And these questions felt uncomfortable, but strangely relieving because I was done pretending. I think a lot of women are exhausted for one reason, and that is they're constantly fighting something they already know to be true. And fighting your own truth is one of the most draining things a person can do. What happens when you stop holding yourself hostage? You find you don't need food for comfort as much. You stop numbing yourself with distractions and your energy starts returning. So I'm curious if you've ever asked yourself where you're holding yourself hostage in your own life. I would also love to know what conversations you'd love to explore here. Because the more honest I've become with myself, the more my life has opened up in ways that I could have never seen coming. And I have a feeling that many of you are standing right at the edge of that same realization. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.